Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks. You feel far.
I know, I do feel really far away from you.
My impulse was to come here. We didn't go back.
No, I like this. I like taking over the stage.
So I think we can jump right into the Q&A. I'm going to start things off with just the first couple questions, but please raise your hand if you have a question. We'd love to hear from you. Michael, I would love to start by asking, what are you trying to say about relationships with this film?
Well, my partner is in the building, but I think that the film was definitely, the jumping off point was about the kind of fear of relationships, about the fear of losing yourself in a forever monogamous relationship in that kind of codependent way where you don't know who you are without your partner, and vice versa. But now to be speaking in front of a room of people that have actually seen the film, for me, it's a film about how love is beautiful, and hopefully the ending, for what it is the ultimate commitment of, I love you, babe.
I like Michael using the space.
Yes, baby. I have no training.
Dave and Alison are amazing in the film, and I'm wondering about castings. I feel like, you needed actors who could do a lot, but I feel like, first and foremost, you needed actors who were going to be really game. Can you talk about how you connected and cast them?
I connected firstly with Dave on a meeting about kind of something else, and just over the Zoom, I was a big fan of Rental, which is the film that Dave made with Alison, and therefore I knew oh, this guy likes horror. I've got a little horror in the back pocket. Let's and sort of through that, we kind of got on. I gave him the script, not sort of expecting anything, and then I expected nothing and got a great deal. So that was amazing. And in terms of people being game for it, we couldn't have done it with any other actors. It just would not have worked. Not only for your immense acting talent, but your intimacy, the history you have, the comfort you have with one another. Again, it's wonderful talking in front of people that have seen the movie, but the physical moments where you are really, if you weren't that comfortable, there were days where you were stuck together for 5 hours.
Yeah, we were going to the bathroom together.
Yeah.
We have some photos of that we would send to friends, just like... That was me connected to Dave's arm, not holding any other piece of anatomy. Not great at miming.
Next question.
I would love to hear, Dave and Alison, what did you first think when you read the script, and what made you decide that you wanted to do it together?
Well, Dave read it first and decided we would do it together.
Well, this was one, as you can tell, it's at the end of every single day, we looked at each other and we said, we literally could not have done this with anyone else. And so, yeah, I read the script, and I immediately turned to her, and she's correct. I said, I'm forcing you to do this with me.
But the script was amazing. It was everything that you see on the screen. It was a great relationship story, and the themes were so strong and clear, and the set pieces were fucking bonkers. It was just really fun to read and be on that journey with this couple, and love the way that Shanks used all the horror and every set piece moment to fuel that story about codependence and what's going on with them. So it was like a beautiful marriage of theme and horror, and we're vibing.
All right, I think we can take some questions from the audience. If anybody has any questions? Yes, please. Yes.
How much of that was practical effects with the body horror?
So how much of it was practical effects?
Almost every set piece up until the kind of final sequence was at least practically based. We would often, one of the things that you learn about prosthetics and practical effects is they fall apart quite quickly. So the arms being stuck together when you're trapped in a chair, that's definitely practical. But over the day it kind of starts to get ripped. So you do little sweetness where you just kind of paint out where it's kind of ripped up. But it's all very practical except for I'd say
the hallway.
The hallway scene. And there's practical stuff in that, but then the contortionist, Jim, is wonderful work. But the hallway scene and the final scene are the scenes where we had really strong CGI kind of elements, and everything else was really practical. And shout out to Franco Melbourne, who did the CGI stuff incredibly well. Really great.
Oh, yes, please.
To me, it's more of a thematic backstory, kind of breaking in these characters and thinking that sort of from the beginning we want to see that Alison's character is maybe kind of wanting to get closer and that his character is maybe wanting to push further away. And I thought a way to kind of heighten that would be to have that if he had seen something that had happened to his parents that he'd witnessed when his father died, his mother kind of shut down because she didn't know who she was without this guy in her life. And then realizing that for him, that extra step of fully committing to somebody is just so scary. And I did a bit of research, like there's a lot of times where this has happened. I mean, I say a lot, like half a dozen over history of people who have lost their partners and they like don't tell anyone and just keep them in the bed and just kind of, there's really messed up stories from it. And that was kind of where that came from.
Yes, please, yes.
So there's a lot of humor in the film, and obviously that was really intentional. So I guess kind of what were you thinking balancing like horror and humor kind of in the film?
So this is a question about how you balanced the horror with the humor.
Another reason why it had to be these guys who could just do the drama, could do the intensity, and also just nail the comedy. When I started to write it, I wasn't like intending to make it like certainly don't think it was a horror comedy or anything, but even in other things I've written, I just feel like these situations are so insane. And sometimes when I find I watch like horror or sci-fi, and there's no sense of levity, that's just not my experience of life. You know, I've laughed at funerals and in all the darkest moments of life, there's always humor. And just the absurdity of the thing, it wouldn't have worked for me if we were just taking it deadly seriously all the time. And also, I just think it makes it more fun.
Yes, please, yes.
How did you decide to use a stunt coordinator versus an intimacy coordinator as actors as well? When did you request that, and did it get blurry?
Oh, so, question, how did you decide when to use a stunt versus an intimacy coordinator with some of these scenes for the actors as well?
Well, we had a big discussion amongst ourselves and our crew and decided to forego the use of an intimacy coordinator on this, as we know each other quite well. There was a lot of checking in with the crew to make sure everybody felt comfortable. And so really, yeah, it was mostly just a stunt coordinator and a great group of some stunt actors. Shanks mentioned our contortionist who you see in the hallway. And like, because of the nature of timing for this shoot, you know, just such a tight shoot, that long driveway sequence, in the final driveway sequence, I think we had 4 millis total because it was like someone had to jump in and just be the bleeding arm while I was like changing to a less bloody jacket, and then I could like, you know, so yeah, our stunt coordinator was great. There was a lot of conversations with him, but even those, really, we tried to rehearse them beforehand, and then it was more about what was happening on set because there was kind of, it was hard to replicate exactly what would be happening. So we kind of talked through the idea of it, and then get on set and just like release.
That said, we got fucking beat up.
That's what I meant by release.
I remember, I mean, every day we would go home and I would like get out of the shower and be like, babe, something's on my leg. She'd be like, you have a welt the size of my head. And we got a whole collage of all the welts to release someday. But it was,
We threw our bodies around a lot.
Well, and that's a testament to how committed you guys were to the stunt stuff, to the physical side of things that you were so good at. When Dave was throwing himself around the shower, we had a stunt double on standby that whole day, just like loafing about with a towel. Never used him. Dave's like, I got this. Bam!
We have time for a couple more audience questions. Yes, please.
Yeah, I was wondering how you were able to get the rights to the Spice Girls.
Yeah, so how were you able to get to the rights to the Spice Girls? 2 becomes 1, and did you have any backups?
There were no backups. As mentioned, my sister is here today, and I have a really strong memory of us as kids dancing to the Spice Girls together in our basement. And you know, they're very near and dear to my heart. But it was hard to get. It basically was our whole music budget. I mean, you know, for licensing music. So the other additional music that we hear is often like on friend's band being like, hey, can I have one of your songs, please? Because it was crucial. It was crucial to get that song, and you know, I'm thrilled with it. Like the day we found out that it was all signed was a hallelujah moment.
But it was a long road because we had to get every producer that's listed on the song to sign off, which is all of the Spice Girls and like 7 other producers. So we were truly like, hey, I got the number for Mel B's assistant and she could make me email. So we were writing these like long, heartfelt emails to the Spice Girls. Dave would send photos of me in like my favorite vintage Spice Girls shirt. And like the good news is it's all true. Like we all love the Spice Girls. We were so excited to get the song, but I mean it was crucial.
I think we have time for one last question. Yes, please.
I wanted to ask if there's anything in particular that you're trying to say about queerness with this film, because I think while it was really amazing and I had such a great time, it would be a really different movie if, like with the Jamie character, if that was a heterosexual couple and the main couple was a queer couple. So I wanted to know what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah, I was really conscious of not wanting to create a sort of like non-binary character who would come out and sort of act as the antagonist or was seen to be like a quote-unquote villain, because I don't want that to be misconstrued as how I feel about sort of queer communities or anything like that. So it made, it was really more of a logistical decision, I think, to make Jamie from a gay couple. So that was kind of where that came from. It was something, you know, that was kind of, I wanted to be very clear to navigate away from anything that might be misconstrued.
I'm so sorry that that's all the time we have. Thank you, Michael, Dave, and Alison.